So we're going to carry on with this fourth lesson now. My name is Jenna Reid and our lessons are on the Shetland fiddle tradition and the music from the Shetland Islands, where I'm from originally. We're going to carry on now with a tune written by Julian Stove. We've done one of his tunes in a previous lesson and we're going to carry on with another of his. The tune that we did in the last lesson of written by Julian Stove was called Willie West the Loch, and that was a tune written in the traditional style. And this time we're going to do a march, which is again a relatively new type of tune for Shetland. As I'd said before, that reels were the most popular tune played within the islands. We're going to do a march, and written by Julian Stove again. However, this is probably leaning towards a more contemporary style of writing tunes. This tune is called the Carnival March, and we're going to start off again by just making sure that we're in tune. And also, as I said before, all materials and information are available to download, and if you need to look at that, I very much recommend it. We're going to start with the first part of this march, and I'll play it through for you so you have an idea how the tune goes, and I'll carry on into the second half and you can hear the whole tune. So just making sure we're in tune first of all. So the A string, and the D string, and the G, and then the E to finish. So making sure we're in tune. I'll play this march for you. This is the Carnival March. Carnival March, and as you can see, a lot of fourth fingers getting used in that tune as well. So the exercises that we were doing in the previous lessons will be coming quite handy for this tune as we strengthen up that fourth finger. So let's go back to the beginning and see if we can just take it one phrase at a time again, as we did usually with the other tunes, just to piece together the first half. It starts off with an upbeat and two notes of an upbeat, and we're going to play those on separate bows so we can land on a down bow for the first beat of the bar. So okay, so that's the beginning. Let's see if we can do that again. Once more. Now after that first down bow, I'm putting a wee slur in. simple just to add in. Let's go on and learn the next phrase. And again. And once more. So let's see if we can put those two together and play it right through from the beginning. Now let's do that a few times through. Now let's move on to the next part. And again. And once more. And all that follows this is 3 long crotchets. And that's our lead note to get back into the first half to repeat it. So let's just go over that first part again. So. Now you probably notice there that's quite different to what I just played, and that's because this is the ending that we're going to add on to the end of the first half. So that ending there again. Do that once more. Okay, so that's how the end is slightly different. Let's play through that first half a few times around until we get used to the new ending, and let's go from the beginning. So. that was the first half, and as you can see, we added on the unison to the end of that, just to give it a more gutsy finish to the tune. Instead of just an open A, we added an R. Okay, so again, in that first half, I'm using the basic rule that a down bow should come on the downbeat. It's quite easy to remember, so try, if you can, to stick to that as often as possible, because it will see you right through a whole tune, and it will avoid you back bowing this way in the wrong direction. You want to be pulling down all the time. So I'm just going to go over that again in that first half. So down, up, up. Getting it down. Okay, so that's how it works. Sometimes as I played there, on the repeat to go back to the first half, we have to slur on the up bow, which sounds unusual to the rule that I'm telling you, but it does correct itself. Down. And so on. So don't worry if you find yourself on an up bow at some point through that, where you think you usually play it down, because it will correct itself. And if you can try and follow the bowing that I've used, that will see you right through the tune. So that is the notes and basic bowing for the first half of the Carnival March. Now, when we move into the second half, this is where the tune gets slightly more technical, with our fingering, as we're using a lot more of our fourth finger. And when we're using the fourth finger in the second half, it's without the added crutch of your extended third, which makes a unison, as I was demonstrating. Instead, in the second half, this fourth finger is going to have to be sitting out on its own as part of the melody, not just an added ornament. So this is where these exercises that you have been practicing, or should have been practicing, should come in, and you'll reap the benefits of after doing some work on your fourth finger in tunes like this. I'll quickly go over a couple of exercises, just recapping on one that we did before. Just basically running up the scale using our fourth finger where possible, and keeping all these fingers down whilst we use our fourth to avoid any unnecessary fingers flying out. Let's keep them as close to the board as possible. Now, another exercise which combines our fourth finger and string crossing, which is very important in this tune as well, to make sure it's very clean and very even string crossing. Now, this exercise I'll show you, and as I said, it involves both the string crossing and the fourth finger work. So this one goes like this. Now I'll slow that down so you know what I'm doing there, but the purpose of that is to be able to move fluently, and this is probably one of the only times that I would tell you to use as short a bow as possible to make that movement as fluent as possible. Now if you can watch what this wrist here is doing, it's creating a little circle going round, and if you can keep that as little slight movement as possible, and notice that the movement is coming from the wrist, not the whole arm, but just this wrist here, and that's where we want the flexibility to come from. And the bow itself is moving, so we're probably working around this area of the bow, and as I said, it's probably the only time that I would suggest that you used small bows. So let's go over that small exercise. So without the fingers this time. Now in this tune, a lot of the string crossing in the second part is going to happen further down. So let's adapt the exercise to suit the tune and move over to the G and the D strings. Now as you see, this elbow is going to have to rise, not ridiculously or uncomfortably, but it's going to have to rise a little bit, and therefore with the wrist also. So as you can see, the notes can be adapted to any string. So let's go over those notes first of all. So open, C, B, D, C, E with the fourth, opening, D, B, and that's it. So I'll go over that slowly again. Okay, now the purpose of this also is to keep these fingers close down, as I said before, and when we stretch out for that fourth, it should be like any other string finger that you're stretching. None of the others should have to fly out. It should just be keeping very, very close to the fingerboard. So keep that in mind as we go through the second half and learn it, and you'll straight away notice where this exercise is going to come in handy. So let's go over the second half then. Again, this begins with an upbeat, and we play it exactly the same way as we played the first upbeat in the first half. Okay, so we're already into our string crossing pattern. Let's go over that section one more time. Okay, one more. Can we add that 2 extra crosses over onto the end of that first phrase? So let's put that all together. Okay, let's do that one more time. Okay, now the moment I'm playing it quite slowly, so that is giving me way to use bigger bows, but when it's much more up to speed, the bows will slow down and it'll become more like the exercise that we just did. So I'll play it slightly with slightly smaller bows. Okay, so that's more towards the kind of idea we're looking for. One more time on that. Moving on then. We add those few notes onto the end. So let's see if we can pin that onto the end. So. One more time. Next little part. That little section again. Again. on and do our upbeat again, and this time it's going to be slurred. Now that's virtually the same as before. Let's have one more practice over that and add the rest of it in. Okay, let's have a quick recap and play up to where we've got to in the second half. So. This is where our fourth finger section comes in. Now all we're doing here is an open D, an A with a fourth finger, C sharp on the bass, down to B, and down to A. Creates an octave there. Now, if you wanted to, you could try it with an open A, but you're going to be jumping from this A over those three strings, and it's far more difficult to try and create a clean sound with all of that string crossing. So it's more helpful to do it with your fourth finger, and it's going to retain the strength in that fourth finger if you keep using it. So let me go over that section again. And then the end of the second half. And once more. On the end. So let me show you the whole second half, and we'll take it quite steady so we can see what's going on. The entire tune, the Carnival March. Now that we've put all those parts together, gone over our exercises and closely looked at the fourth finger work, let's see if we can play through the whole tune, and let's do it a couple of times through, and so we can try and run all of those things together. It's quite a lot of information to take in at one time, and if your fourth finger is used to perhaps not doing very much, it's quite a shock to the system maybe to have it doing so much. And you will probably feel it quite tired, but persevere with the exercises and this finger will become as strong as the rest of your fingers. So let's play through the tune a couple of times and see if it's beginning to sink in a little bit. So again, starting at the beginning with our upbeat, our two upbeat. the Carnival March, slightly quicker the second time around there. So just a recap on what we've looked at on this tune. We've looked at obviously the basics of our bowing with our downbeat and our down bow, and always trying to maintain that rule within our tunes. And we've also looked at the fourth finger and how important it is to keep that as well practiced as the first, second and third fingers. And we've looked at those two exercises that will keep our fourth finger well oiled. The first one being this. And then the second one, which includes also a string crossing exercise. And we've also talked about how this affects what this wrist here is doing, and the position of our arm and the position of this arm. So there's quite a lot of things to think of whilst we're playing, and as well as there being a few things to think about, they're quite important as they affect our posture and the way that we're sitting. So it's very important to sit with a tall back and not slouched over whilst we're playing, and this will be very, very helpful towards the sound that your fiddle will make. So try and keep an eye on your posture, as well as the position of your arms, the position of this wrist and its movement, and the bow movement, especially in that second half. We want to keep it to a small movement so we can get a crossing very fluently and without any broken sound. So that is really the Carnival March, written by Gillian Stove, another Shetland tune, more so in the contemporary style, and that concludes this lesson. And as I said before, all materials and information can be found on the website.